Hello everyone, my name is DeAndre, and today for my creative project I'm going to be making a Native American basket, which is a weaving basket. And for this you're going to need first here some basic yarn. You can do as many colors as you want, but I'm going to stick with one color. And you're going to need some sisal twisted rope. And lastly, you're gonna need some plastic yarn needles. They do come in different sizes, and it can also be metal. And you can also do it by hand, but I think the needle comes in. It's very beneficial when you have to start leveling your basket up. All right, so I chose this subject because I think the Hoppies lifestyle and their artwork is very interesting. So the first thing that you're gonna do is put your yarn through your needle and let it go all the way back. Yep, and then you're gonna take your sisal rope and you're gonna put your yarn like this, about a couple of centimeters, and then you want to pull really tight and start twisting around. You're going to make sure that you keep holding it very tight, and you just keep twisting and twisting and twisting. And there is not a specific size of this, so you can go for, as big of a basket as you want, but it could take a really long time. So I'm just gonna keep twisting. All right, and I'll do one more. So a couple of centimeters here. And then this is gonna be the part where you start to actually fold it to start to curve the base of your basket. All right, so what you're then gonna wanna do is fold the tip part of your sisal rope. Now, because you're wrapping it so tight, it's going to be really hard to squash it down, so you have to give it a lot of pressure. And then what you're going to do is fold it around for a second time. Make sure like it's really tight. It's going to be hard. And make sure your rope is facing the up portion, so it should look like this. And then what you're going to want to do is grab the part with your needle. Want to pull it down a bit. Now I went ahead and I cut off a lengthy piece. It doesn't have to be too big. And what you're going to want to do is go in through the middle and pull all the way through it. Make sure you're pulling really tight. And then you're going to bring it around and then go back in through again. You want to make sure that they're kind of aligned. And then you're going to do it one more time. Make sure this is, oops. All right, so you loop it around twice. And you keep pulling really hard. You want to make sure it's as tight as possible. And then what you want to do is bring this part here up, and then you're going to continue twisting. You're going to continue twisting, and you're going to twist till you get at about like right here, and then you'll stop. All right, so once you've twisted to about this length, what you're gonna do is you have it up top here. You're gonna take your needle and you're gonna go to the middle, and what you're gonna do is pull it down all the way really tight, and then it's kind of hard to see because I have one basic color, but you're gonna come back up top through this part right here, and you're going to come on the opposite side of where you first went down, and then you're going to pull up and pull really hard so that you make sure it stays. And then what you're going to do is continue twisting over here. And what that does is just make sure that the basket's secure. And when you start back twisting, you only want to twist for about, so it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like for about 8 to 9 times. Just because the yarn will come loose if you twist it for too long. Then you do the same thing. So when you come up, you go down in the center, that one you pull under, and then you loop it back up, through the opposite side that you went down, and you pull it really hard, and then you start twisting again. And as you can see, it's starting to form a circle that's going to spiral outwards. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you come back up. You're going to do the same thing. Go down in the center. Pull it really hard. And then push back up to the opposite side. Make sure everything is flat. And you start again. And basically you're just going to do that until you get a big enough base, I guess to the size of how you want your basket. Alright, so when your piece of yarn that you're twisting gets to about this length, you don't want it to get any shorter than this, or else it could chance the basket come falling loose if you wait too late to overlap it. So what I'm going to do is, I have this piece right here. I'm going to finish this loop, and I'm going to put it flat on top, and I'm going to take a new piece of yarn, and I'm going to match that up with this one where I have them at the same length. And then where I left off twisting here, I'm going to hold it down with my finger. And then I'm going to start twisting. Make sure it's pulled tight. So you just start looping it around again. So you just loop it around, you make sure they're held down, and then you continue wrapping your yarn around your rope. Alright, so I have my base made to about the size that I want it. You can go bigger if you'd like to. This is how big I want mine. And I kind of ended it near the center where I started, with the loop facing up. And this is the part now where I'm gonna bring it up so the shape of the basket can start to form so that it can flare up. And this part is a bit more difficult because you have to put a bit more pressure on it. And what you're basically doing is, instead of leaving this to the side like you've always been doing, how it's flat, you're gonna now have to wrap it around and slowly bring the rope up on top so that it forms a layer around. Let's see here. So I'm gonna start to bring this up a bit. Then I'm gonna wrap around. So I did that one about 5 times, I think, maybe 6. I kept it short just because it's gonna start the looping process, and you definitely don't want it to be too slack. So I'm gonna raise it up on top, and you have to hold it or else it won't stay up. And then you're gonna push down, push through the middle. Oops. And you're gonna bring it through the top and pull through. And you want to make sure that it's turn it around. You're gonna make sure that it's starting to flow up on top, and you also don't want to keep it directly on top of the next rope, like directly on top like that, because what would happen is the basket would just end up like going up straight like that, and you kind of want it to flare out like a bowl, like a dish. So I'll keep twisting up top, and then I'll come back when I've made some progress. Alright, so I started to raise my basket up. I started to take the rope up, and as you can see, spot that we started at. So I started here, and I started to raise it up all the way, and as you can see, it's starting to get the curve the more I go along, and I'm just gonna keep it on the same pattern until it flares all the way up, and then eventually I'm gonna bring it in a bit so I can kind of seal it off at the top, and you'll see what I mean when I'm get closer to the top. But I'm gonna continue twisting and then show progress when I'm almost near the top. Alright, so as you can see, I made my rope come up a bit, and this is just an update of the progress. So it's coming along. Like I said, it takes a really long time before you start to see any progress. It's starting to raise up a bit, so what I'm going to do is just continue winding it around until I get it to about a good height that I want it to, and then I'm going to start to seal it off a bit. But yeah, so I'm just going to continue to bring it up, and I will continue updating on the progress. Alright, so I've made my basket as wide as I want it to be. I don't want it to flare up too wide because then it'll be harder to close in up top. Well, not harder, it'll just take a lot longer. So before we went to the side with the rope, and then we went on top, and now what I'm gonna do is bring the rope inside, so it's gonna kind of curve itself in to like how baskets close off. So what I'm gonna do is wrap it. I'm gonna do it for about 5 times, and then what I'm gonna do is take my needle and the yarn, and I'm gonna push this inside, and you kind of have to hold it so that it doesn't loop back on the outside, because you don't want it to keep going out now, you want it to come in. And you continue doing the same steps as earlier. You're just pulling through. Pulling through like this. You can see how it's kind of leaning in now and not like leaning out anymore. So you have to keep pulling it, and what it's basically going to do is just start wrapping around and going back up inside. Yeah, so I'm going to do that, and then I'll be back in a bit. All right, so I've reached the top part of my small basket, and this is as high as I would like for it to go because I do want to put stuff in it. You can keep taking it up, but I don't want the hole to get too small. If you can see in there. Yeah, I don't want the hole to get too small, so I'm gonna stop it right here. And how you stop it is basically, well, I made a small mark to where I want it to stop, and you just take a scissors or a knife, and you basically just cut your cecil rope. It will be a little hard because the rope is really it's really thick, and you basically continue on twisting. And for the ones at the end, you don't want to twist too much because it is the end, and you do want it to stay as tight as possible, because the slightest loose part could cause it to unravel. I'm just going to keep pulling tight. I'm sorry if you can't see it like that. Alright, so I'm just going to keep twisting until I get up to the end, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I'm at the end of my cecil rope, and I can't really wrap it around anymore, else it's going to slip out. So this will be one of the last strengthening knots that I do. I can see here, go back in, It's really hard at the end. Okay, so as you can see, there isn't any really more space. So now what I'm going to do is wrap it around. If it can stay, I'm going to wrap it around the top and push it through the one right below it. Then for this one, I'm going to go through the one under it. So I'm on this row right now, so I'm going to go to this one right here. I can see to push. One right here. Pull back through. Pull really tight. Right. This is where the metal needle probably would have been a lot better. Alright, so then you're gonna wrap it, you're gonna make another 5 loop. So come through about 5 more times, and then that'll be the last one for the basket. Oops. I'm sorry if I keep moving it around. It's really hard at this point. So I'm just trying my best. So I'm going to go under and pull through. And go back around. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I have to do it off camera, but I'm just going to create a small knot right here. Let's see. I'm going to create a knot right here on the inside, and then I'm just gonna cut it with my scissors, and then that'll be it. Alright, so I'll be back in a second. Alright, so I went ahead and trimmed it up, and this is the final product. It is a small basket, So I didn't want it to be too big just because I want it like on a small coffee desk, just to put stuff in, small items. But yeah, so this is the final product. And like I said, I chose this because I love the way that the Hopi lived, how they, were one with nature, and they didn't really use much for their lifestyle, their way of living. And they showed lots of love to each other, and they took care of their tribe members. So yeah, this has been a fun project for my humanities class, and I hope it gets me a good grade. So thank you.